Hello, ladies. Welcome in. For those that are live, if you could confirm that you can hear me. Today's topic is going to be about consistency. I'm going to be sharing my exact formula for staying consistent without burnout and without force. I've definitely learned a lot about this from my own experience, from literally what I put in the thumbnail of taking one step forward and two steps back, of just going all in and believing that everything had to be perfect, where I would go in with all or it was nothing. So I would just go all in, be like, make the decision that I'm gonna go like to the gym for like 5 days a week for like hours and hours on end, and then I'm gonna change about my diet and go all in. And it would work for maybe like a week, even if that, and then I would take two steps back. So that is what the live will be about today. How to do this in a way that actually supports your female physiology without burning out, without force, without literally trying to do this approach where it's like all or nothing, where you're like, I'm gonna do this and this and that, and you're doing this in the time of your phase, which we'll be talking about, the time of your phase where you're feeling at your best, you're at your peak, you're feeling high levels of energy, and you make these kinds of declarations. And then later in your phase, that week before your period, during your luteal phase, feeling like you can't show up for yourself, feeling like all those things that you said, you're like, what the heck happened? I do not have the energy for this. I cannot show up like this. And that is what we will be talking about today. That is actually the first point that I have. I have my notes right here. And it is about understanding your female physiology and the fact that you, as a woman in a woman's body, go through seasons. I've made videos about this before. I think I've already linked the menstrual cycle playlist in the description down below if you want to watch those videos. But we as women go through seasons. We literally are different, like a different woman in each week of the month, in each of those seasons, because our hormones are fluctuating. They are going through different things. We have different levels of energy. Even our tolerance to stress and what we are able to do during certain parts of our phases changes. And the types of movements that are meant to support us in those different seasons changes based on our capacity, based on our hormone levels, based on what our body is able to do in that time. And why I bring this up, I'm not going to go too much into detail because I've talked about this before on this channel. But when you actually start to track your cycle and start to understand and plan ahead and see that when this part of my cycle comes, I am not in the best mood. I don't have the best energy. I feel really low. And how I actually want to support myself, speaking specifically about the luteal phase, that week before your period, where you experience so much anxiety, where you experience such a low mood, where probably most of your progress goes down the toilet. This is where I want to reassure you that you can stay consistent. And before I even go into this, I want to redefine what consistency means, because so often we think that consistency means that we are doing the same thing every single day. And this is based on such a male lens, because a male body goes through like a daily cycle. Their hormones are the same every single day. They change throughout the day, but they reset the next day. And when we are approaching our body, our consistency in the same way, it is not really sustainable for us, and it doesn't work for us because that is not how our body is built. It doesn't really follow our natural blueprint as women. And how we can learn to better support ourselves is to learn what does consistency. You're like literally redefining what consistency gets to look like for you as a woman in each phase of your cycle. So consistency to me, what that means to me is I continue to show up for myself. I don't have to do the same type of workout. I don't have to do it for the same amount of time. I don't have to show up exactly in the same way that I show up in my ovulatory phase when I'm feeling like I'm at my peak and in my luteal phase. To me, that is not consistency. To me, consistency is simply just showing up for myself. So, in my ovulatory phase, when I have the best energy and I have high amounts of energy, what I'm going to do during that phase is I'm going to socialize more, put myself out there more. When I'm in my follicular phase that week after my period, that is when I feel follicular and ovulatory. That is when I feel at my peak, at my highest. And it is those 2 weeks where you feel like a lot of your energy wants to go outwards. You want to create, you want to interact with people, you want to be social. And that is because you have a higher tolerance to stress. Your hormones are completely shifting to a different direction. And it is done that way naturally because it is a wise design. And what I'm going to be doing, the workouts I'm going to be doing during that phase, because I have a high tolerance to stress, how I built my life now is literally built around my cycle. So because I have a high tolerance to stress, even any emotional shadow work, anything that is intense, boundary work, anything like that that I'm going to be doing is going to be during those phases of the follicular and the ovulatory. Because my capacity for stress is so much higher, I'm going to be doing more in those phases because I have the capacity to do that. I have the what was the word? It oh my gosh, it left my it left my head. But what I'm trying to emphasize is that I want you to start, if this is a foreign concept to you, I want you to start tracking your cycle and getting curious about what is my energy level like in my follicular and ovulatory phase? And what is it like during my luteal and menstrual phase? And what movements do I feel drawn to? Because for me, during my luteal and my menstrual phase, I will often, my consistency for me looks like going for a walk, doing yin yoga, which is very slow moving yoga. And if in the beginning of my luteal phase, I feel that my body can handle weightlifting, I will do that. So I think a big part of this is about building trust with your body, building that trust back, because when you say you're going to do something, you show up and do it. And what oftentimes happens when we are showing up like men, expecting the same amounts of energy levels and the same hormones every single day to be the same and nothing to change, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, because then we say we're going to do something. And then when the time comes, when you're in your luteal phase, you're feeling anxious, your mood is low, you literally don't want to talk or see anybody, you don't want to see a gym, you don't want to do any of those things that are intense and do take a toll on your nervous system and on your body, because your body's going through a lot of changes during that time. When that time comes, what do you think will happen? All the things that you said you would do are gonna go out the window. And this is how you lose trust with yourself, because then you learn, yes, I did say that I'm going to do this, but then when the time comes and then you don't do it because you think you have to do the all or nothing response, the like, I have to go to the gym for like 2 hours or it's nothing. When you believe that that is consistency and then you don't show up for yourself, then you are literally breaking that trust with yourself and any other area of your life. And even when you try to become more consistent again, what you will notice is that there's a little voice inside your head that will literally start to say, well, yeah, you've said that before, but you don't follow through. Yeah, you've made that same declaration before and you've made that same decision before, but what's different this time? You don't stick, like the voice that was inside my head, I'm going to speak about my experience, is that there was a voice inside my head that says, well, you don't really stick to anything. Because I really wasn't sticking to it, because I wasn't supporting my body in a way where it was natural to my female physiology. And so what I want to encourage you is to start tracking your cycle if you are not already, and to see, my next point is to create a plan and be prepared for how you want to support yourself, how you want to show up for yourself, because this is not about discipline and forcing your way through, because you're eventually going to burn out. Especially if you force yourself through mindset, you're going to end up burning out. I want you to do this in a way that actually supports your female physiology, that actually supports you as a woman without feeling like you have to force something to happen. And so, what I did for myself when I was struggling to show up consistently for movement, I started out with, before, I used to literally just kind of be like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours and I'm going to do it this many times a week. And it would be like this all kind of response. And then when my luteal phase would come, be like, okay, not doing that anymore. But then what I started doing is that I created a plan for myself that was so small, literally broke it down. And I was like, what is the bare minimum that I can do right now? Is it going for a walk? Okay, let's go for a walk. A 5-minute walk. Let me just go for a 5-minute walk. Is that what I'm capable of doing for consistently for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks? What can I consistently do? And what is the smallest form of action I can take right now to get into the momentum of showing up for myself? Because I think what is so powerful about this is not the workout itself, is not the amount of time that you spend on at the gym or on something. It is actually building this trust with yourself and with your body, and knowing that you can trust your own word, knowing that you can trust that when you say you're going to do something, that you show up and do it. So in the first part of this, what you are doing is actually learning how to build that trust with yourself by showing up consistently, by doing something really small. So I want you to pick something super small that you can do. It's like so doable that it's out of the question. You're like, there is no way I wouldn't show up for myself and do this. So for me, that was taking walks. And obviously, I ended up taking way longer than 5-minute walks. But I had it in my reminders app that I'm saying, this is how long I want to move for. And for me, in the beginning, that was a 10-minute walk or 10-minute movement. I would find videos on YouTube where it was like this dance workout video, and I would do a 10-minute video, or I would go out for a walk. But the point is to just stay consistent. You can do a 10-minute yoga video, whatever it is for you. And literally, like, I think people look for quick fixes. And then when you do the quick fix, you literally end up burning out, or it's not sustainable and you don't end up following through till the end. Or, I mean, where is the end, anyways? This is like a lifetime thing. So, this is why I found this is the thing that's worked for me, because I'm doing it in a way that supports, in the beginning, supports where I'm at. And even as I build on top of that, I'm doing it in a way that supports me throughout my cycle, through the different seasons that I'm going through. I'm not trying to force my way through something. I'm not abandoning myself and not showing up for myself or breaking my word. I'm still showing up for myself in a way that is supportive, that supports my female physiology. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat below. So here's what I actually started doing. So I want you to start being prepared in different ways. So something that I did was that I went on Pinterest, I found workouts that like weightlifting workouts videos that I wanted to watch and follow through during maybe like my follicular and ovulatory phase when I felt more up for that. And then I would save videos. What is that sound? Oh, it's the bathroom. Sorry, I got distracted. So on what was I saying? So on YouTube, I would literally save videos of like dance workouts of like a certain number of minutes, of like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. As I built on this, I continue to increase the time, but having a set playlist of that and a set playlist of yoga videos and literally just preparing yourself and having a variety of ways that you can show up for yourself based on what you're experiencing. So it's not like I'm going to only do this one thing. It's I have a variety of options and I can show up for myself in these different ways. Sometimes if I had a crappy day and I didn't have a lot of energy and maybe I didn't sleep well, or maybe I'm not even in my luteal phase, I just didn't sleep well, I don't have the best energy, I'm not just going to force myself to do it, and I'm also not going to abandon myself. So what can I do in that? Can I take a walk? Can I do a yoga video? I'm still going to show up for myself. Even if it's a 5-minute yoga video, a 5-minute walk, it does not matter. It is about following through on your word and continuing to build that momentum and keep that momentum going and keep that consistency going. So I think I haven't touched on this, but also set the parameters for yourself. How many times when you're starting off just in the beginning, and you can continue to build on this as you go, but as you're starting out, I want you to determine how many days are you going to do this for? How long will you do it for? What kinds of maybe movements or workout will you do in different phases of your cycle? And I think, yeah, that's everything. And having all of those will help you not so much be like when in the moment when you have a lot of questions and you're like, should I do this? Should I do that? And you don't have the clarity. When we make things complex, that's actually one of the points. When we complicate things, it becomes harder to show up and to just do the damn thing. So make it as simple as possible, make it as easy as possible, plan ahead for yourself so that you're not like in the moment thinking, oh, well, I don't have this, I'm not going to do it. Oh, I don't have this video prepared. I don't have these workouts prepared. I have to sit here and look and find them on TikTok or find them on Pinterest or on YouTube. You already have these things beforehand. Excuse me. You already have these things beforehand and they're already ready and set for you. You just decide to show up. Actually, you just decide once that you are doing this for this long, for this many days, every single week, and it's a one-time decision. Because I found it so exhausting when I would literally like ask myself every single day, am I going to work out today or no? Am I going to do this today or no? Do I have energy for this today or no? I want you to check in with your body, but don't let that question of, am I going to actually show up for myself in any shape or form be in question. That is not in question. You are showing up for yourself because you said you would show up for yourself. It is a matter of shifting how you show up for yourself. That is the whole thing. Like that, it's only a matter of how you are actually showing up for yourself to support your body in whatever season of your phase you're in. I think my last point, I think, and I've already said it before, is to start out with baby steps. Consistency matters so much more than intensity. It is going to take you way farther. And I have so many examples of this in my own life, even with starting this YouTube channel. If I had made it complicated and I had literally said, I need to learn all of these skills and I need to learn all of these tools and I need to like have all of these editing skills and do all of these things. And I was like, I need to make an hour-long video and I need to do this and this and that. That is always going to stop you from taking action because it's just complicated. Your brain is going to be like, nope, like we're going to stay away from that. That's too much energy right now, because you're always going to try to conserve energy. So I want you to literally just take the smallest step. For me, that was just starting out with a 7-minute video, I think was my first video, and just going with that and not making it complicated and not putting in all these edits of like what you see influencers doing. And I've kept that because it's what helped me stay consistent. I'm not going to go out there and try to make my videos complicated. I would rather it be a natural talking video where it feels like we're just hanging out and I'm still able to show up and share from my own experience, share what I'm learning, and get to connect with you, rather than making it complicated, never show up, and we never get to have this conversation. I think it's just about making it simple for yourself, doable for yourself in a way that works for you. So often we try to copy other people and copy what's worked for them, but so often it's just not sustainable. So I want you, even if you see someone doing something that you like, I want you to take that, apply it to your own lifestyle, apply it to your own female physiology, and let that be how you show up. You don't have to do something exactly how someone else is doing it, because sometimes it may be sustainable for someone else, but it may not be sustainable for you, or it doesn't fit in your lifestyle. And so this is mostly based on like being consistent in terms of health. And how I found this pattern also showing up in my relationship is that oftentimes I would take, again, one step forward and two steps back because I had so many blocks within my relationship. So another place that I found this showing up for me was inside relationship. I had all kinds of blocks that were saying, you can't receive this much love. You cannot allow yourself to be supported. Or like these, you guys have heard me talk about before, like all these protections that would come up about the relationship. And if you're finding yourself in a place where you are literally taking one step forward and two steps back in your relationship, like you make an improvement and you're finally connecting with your partner and you're able to have a deep conversation and you're able to let them see you and you're able to feel the love in your body, and then something inside you retreats and you're like, okay, let's reel this back in. Like, let's take this a few steps back because that was way too much. This is a protection mechanism, and it is because your body does not feel safe in the amount of love that you're able to hold. And so this is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you live in Stop Sabotaging the Love That You Crave. It's a 60-day experience where we'll be literally going through those blocks, literally crushing them one by one and expanding on your capacity so that you are able to actually be consistent in relationship, so that you can finally allow love in and be consistent with that. Not allow it for a day, not allow it for a minute, a day, even if that, because that at some point was a lot for me. A day was a lot. And so it's literally just breaking down those blocks that are saying that you cannot allow this much love in, and then continuing to expand on that at your body's pace, again, without force, because that is not, as women, we are repelled by force. I'm just going to say that we do not like force. So, and like so often, and even in my own journey, I would try to force things, force outcomes, force healing, force things to happen because I thought, oh, well, I need to fix this. There's something wrong here. There's something broken here. I need to fix myself. But that was not the case. It was just a lot of things that were clouding my, I don't want to say judgment, but were clouding my vision, that were clouding my view of who I truly am at the core, of what I truly deserve. And that is exactly what we will be doing in those 60 days. And if any of this resonated with you, the link to that will be down below. there are limited spots to the people who get the Telegram access, but there is a bonus where you get private Telegram access to ask any questions, to share anything that you are going through that I'll be able to help you with privately. And there are a few limited spots left, but if you would like to be a part of that, that is going to be available for the early bird while you sign up now. There's actually currently, I believe, the early bird special is still going on. I don't know when you'll be watching this video, but currently, if you watch this right away, it'll still be going on and the price is going to go up again soon. So the link to that will be down below. If you have any questions or anything that I didn't cover in this video about staying consistent without force or burnout, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. I would love to hear what are the things that you struggle with when it comes to consistency if I wasn't able to answer that in this video. But thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next live. Bye.